In these videos I have mentioned the Druid Order I belong to, the Order of Bards, Ovates and Druids, or OBOT for short. And you may have heard of other ones like the British Druid Order, or the Ancient Order of Druids, or the Druid Network. So what are these groups? What do they do? And what's the difference between them? O is for order. In our Western culture, the word order is usually used for a group of religious people, monks or nuns, who have a special dedication to their religion and who live by a certain rule or a set of principles. Or it can be used for a group of knights, like the Order of the Garter. And sometimes it's even just used for a group of people who have a set of interests in common. And all of these three senses of the word order are applicable to Druidry. Druid orders are definitely common interest groups. They bring people together who have a reverence for nature and derive wisdom from it. These groups can bring people quite closely together and are a great source of support and inspiration that give people the strength and inspiration to go and do amazing things in the world. It gives people the strength they need to develop their projects from something quite small to something quite amazing. I know somebody who started performance poetry in small ice steadforts in the camps I used to go to, and who now does poetry projects for the United Nations, and she is just one among many. Like different religious orders emphasize different aspects of Christianity, for example, so Druid orders can have a different way of approaching their nature-based spirituality and emphasize different ways of getting in touch with various aspects of nature. OBOT teaches a classic spirituality within the Western mystery tradition, with all the accoutrements of casting formal circles and invoking quarters, and it's also very much based in psychology, while the BDO, on the other hand, the British Druid Order, is much more shamanic and has a much freer style of engaging with the forces of nature. The oldest Druid Order in England is the Ancient Druid Order, that is now just known as the Druid Order. They trace their history back all the way to the year 1717, which is more than 300 years ago now, and they are still active today. They are the ones that dress in the white wimples that you can sometimes see on TV when Druidry is mentioned. They emphasize classical Greek mythology mostly in their ritual, and most of the orders I have mentioned before trace their history back to them. Other groups of Druids exist that don't necessarily call themselves orders, like the Druid Network, for example, that brings together different Druids who don't necessarily belong to other groups and help them to network together. The Druid Network particularly emphasises Druidry as a religion. Druid orders can also be like orders of knights, who emphasise spirituality as a warrior path. As a nature-based spirituality, they emphasise environmentalism. There's, for example, Law, the loyal Arthurian warband, whose stated aim is to challenge injustice and especially environmental issues. Groups within other orders have sometimes come together due to environmental activism for specific issues. 10 years or so ago, there was a threat of commercial fracking happening in this country, and a group of O-bodies got together to found the Warriors' Call, which aimed to bring pagan people together to protect the land from fracking through protest and environmental community work. It may or may not be a coincidence that fracking never became a commercial success in this country. The various groups I've mentioned are linked in the description below, so you can go and have a look if you're interested. The more formal orders have 3 grades in them, which is another thing they have in common with classic Western mystery tradition. The 3 grades in Druidry are called Bard, Ovate and Druid, and in the training courses that the various orders offer, you move from one into the next. Bards were the record keepers of the tribe. They kept the memory of the tribe alive. They would compose poetry and tell stories, and their ability to curse or praise a person would have a real profound effect on their standing in the community. Nowadays, bards learn to listen to the tides of nature and express creatively what they see and feel there. Ovates are the diviners and healers. They used to be the prophets of their tribes, able to see beyond time. They were the closest to what you'd think of as a tribal shaman, and in later centuries their equivalent might have been the witches who practiced folk magic. Our Ovates learn how to make journeys into the other world or the unconscious, and they learn how to make relationships with different aspects of nature like plants and animals and trees. Druids are the judges and peacemakers. Back in the day, they were highly respected advisors to kings, and when 2 armies squared up to start a battle, Druids would come forward from each side to negotiate peace together. Nowadays, Druids learned how to be of service to their various communities in whichever way suits their talents and their interests. From the outside, these grades tend to feel quite hierarchical, but when you get together with a group of Druids, they don't tend to matter much. Each individual brings their own knowledge and their own wisdom and their own relationship with the gods and the spirits, and when you're practicing together, grades really don't come into it very much. That is one of the good reasons why I stayed with the order I belong to. Are you a member of a group or an order? And if so, what does that do for you? Or is there maybe a reason that you wouldn't want to join a group? Please let me know in the comments. Click like if you enjoyed watching this video, and subscribe if you would like to see more of the Alphabet Superset of Druidry. Thank you so much for watching, I really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time for the P for plants.